And now at 6, housing help needed across South Florida, and CBS 4 is committed to helping you navigate through all of this. Tonight, homeowners say they're fed up with their insurance companies as they try to juggle skyrocketing premiums, limiting coverage, and canceled policies. It's one of the top companies state lawmakers are hearing from homeowners insurance companies pulling out or going under. CBS 4's Joan Murray is in Fort Lauderdale with more. And Joan, this is a growing crisis.
It certainly is, Elliot. If you have gotten a large bill or been dropped by your carrier, you have plenty of company. The reasons are many. Some has to do with a lot of litigation and other factors, but we have learned tonight that there is hope on the horizon that the Florida legislature may return later this year to take up the home insurance crisis.
We actually have salt water that bubbles up through our sewer systems in the street.
George Colbert has seen flooding get worse year to year in his Wilton Manors neighborhood. His flood insurance rates have gone up along with everything else.
I actually canceled my windstorm policy. It got too high. And actually, I spoke to some of our neighbors who had the policy, and as a result of some of the storms we had, they said it was a hassle to try to get reimbursed for anything.
If you haven't noticed, we are in a home insurance crisis marked by skyrocketing rates, insurance companies suspending new business, companies limiting coverage or canceling policies altogether, and driving more people into Citizens, the state-run insurer of last resort.
If there's nowhere else to go, then you also wind up in Citizens. You have less coverage. There's also an assessment risk. So if something happens and Citizens runs out of money and they run a deficit, the first thing that they do is they assess all their policyholders.
Paul Handerhan is president of the Federal Association for Insurance Reform, a watchdog group. He says Florida has to bolster the Hurricane Catastrophe Fund before the start of hurricane season to keep struggling insurance companies afloat.
There's only one solution, and that's the Hurricane Cat Fund, expanding the capacity that they have to provide that reinsurance to these carriers before June 1st.
State Representative Tom Fabrizio agrees because he says with Citizens insuring close to 1 million people, the risk is too great.
If a big catastrophic storm were to affect the state of Florida and impact those policies, the state of Florida would be on the hook to pay all those claims.
George Colbert says he has saved enough to weather any insurance price hike, but he knows he is the exception.
I really feel for people who are working hard to make ends meet as it is, and as prices continue to go up, it's going to be difficult.
Going to be difficult indeed. Well, during this last legislative session, there were a lot of insurance reform bills proposed, but none of it passed. Representative Fabrizio said so far the insurance reform issue is not on the agenda for the special session coming up in a couple of weeks, but he is confident that there will be a special session sometime this year to take up the rising insurance rates. We don't know when that may happen, so for the meantime, there is no relief in sight. In Fort Lauderdale tonight, Joan Murray, CBS 4 News.
Hard to believe the legislature hasn't been focusing on this. Joan, thank you. The housing crisis is hitting a lot of us and in different ways, leaving many desperate for help. So that's why CBS 4 Miami is focusing on this. We want your stories to show the crisis you're in or how you navigated the system. We'll highlight these issues and work to get answers and solutions. Send us an email at housing@cbs.com.